Hi Sagittarius, I hope that you're all doing well. We're here with the timeless reading. The first card that we have out is Temperance. Surprise, surprise. I'm seeing Seven of Wands. This is feeling to me like there's this cycle that you're playing out right now, and there can be a current challenge that you're facing, and it feels like not backing down is important as this is unfolding. It feels like being on the ready for whatever is sort of coming at you right now. I see the Temperance card in this deck as sort of seeing what's going on, kind of like a video game that you're working through, where you have stuff that comes up and then those are sort of the little missions that you go through. So rather than seeing something as like, this isn't supposed to be happening right now, or what an inconvenience, it's like, this is all just part of the level that you're on currently. And having Seven of Wands on the bottom of the deck feels like a need to be prepared for that, and to even, it's not like you need to be mentally prepared, even though like, yeah, that's great, but this feels like on a willingness level, like on an energetic level, you being ready to exert what you need to exert for you to use your energy in a way that's going to help you work through this, especially when stuff is coming up and it can be challenging. It's all stuff that's going to be helping you to grow and learn and expand. And maybe there's a necessity for some type of levity here as you're moving through this, because things can pop up and we can take on many different moods and outlooks about it. And in this Temperance card, Temperance is smiling and sort of seeing things like, this is the divine game that's being played right now, this is the level that's being played right now, and accepting that that's just what's happening, and that means that that's supposed to be what's occurring at this point in time on the level that you're on. And there being an acceptance of the mission. Which is maybe all that you needed to see. Because it looks like something's going on that you could be a little bit worried about. Consumed by, even for some of you. This is something about like what's going to be happening. Just needing to get out of bed and do your thing here. I almost get that you could have been in a mindset before of like, why is this happening right now? Or almost feeling like whatever this was potentially going to defeat you, and seeing this rather like, nope, this is just part of the level right now. I'm not seeing any cause for concern. Nothing like that. But it can be sort of getting you in your head a little bit with this, and then bringing in that really grand, beautiful Sagittarian perspective of really zooming out and really seeing the big picture here for a moment, and then zooming back into where you are, and again seeing this like, this is the level that I'm on right now. Everything that's popping up is stuff that I need. You know, when you go through levels in a video game, how you don't start off doing the most complex moves. You have to, especially one that where you have to make moves, where you have to take action, where you have to do things. It starts you off at this pace where you get to know the basics of things, and this feels like you're at a point where you already have all of that past experience that's going to help you do this. It's nothing that you're not able to work through. This is like appropriate for your level that you're on right now, what you're working with. And it's meant to be there. It's meant to help you perform. It's meant to help you continue. It's not anything that's coming through just to disadvantage you. And this may not always be a conscious mindset that we're in either. You can just have things happen and feel like, oh, what an inconvenience that this is going on right now, or like, why is this happening currently? And then taking that larger perspective and sort of grounding it and recognizing that this is exactly what's supposed to be happening right now. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Nothing is out of order. And you know that. And coming back to a place of acceptance, of this is the mission. And just that little shift that occurs in that moment of remembering. This is the path. Maybe not feeling so... What was this? Maybe you could have felt a little bit uptight about something. Almost weary of changes occurring, but now I'm seeing there be less of that. A little bit more of ease that you're stepping into and allowing for things to shift the way that they need to rather than fighting against it is sort of like going with the flow of things. It's like following the path in order where you're meant to be stepping. Interesting. So we have Sag here, we have the Sun, we have Jupiter, and we also have Capricorn. I'm looking at the Tower on the bottom of the deck. All right, having Temperance and having the Devil here. The Devil can be about our fears. The Devil can also be about stuff that is saying, look at me, look at me, look at me, I'm so important, and it's actually not. It's not the most important stuff, and it can very much distract us into believing that or seduce us into believing that. This feels like needing to work with a very powerful force here that is the Devil, but you are Temperance, and so you are in a perfect energy to be dealing with that. The Devil energy is almost feeling a little bit chaotic, but I see it as being sort of the big bully of this cycle for you. So if you have something that feels like it's had a little bit of power over you, this can be the time where you're learning to work with that and take that back for yourself. So whatever this is, if there's something that you've been repetitively concerned about or worried about, feeling again like something has some type of power over you and your mood as you're going through this, it feels like that is the force that you're sort of working with. That's, you come to this point of facing the enemy within the level. And keep in mind, again, it's a game. So in this game, there is this enemy that is the Devil that you're working with here, and sort of how do you face that? And it feels like Temperance is very much the answer. So that can be patience is the answer. That can be allowing things to unfold in the way that they are. Working with your energy as you're working with it. Accepting where you are. Honoring your being. I do get the feeling of this coming to a place of it feeling more like this is the direction that the game is taking right now, and that allowing you to have more perspective here of this not being like the most crazy severe circumstance. It feels like looking at things like that. The Devil can be stuff that you feel influenced by that you don't want to feel influenced by, but you're finding your way of how do I be in the world and deal with these things. And that's how you're learning to navigate with this. In this Devil card, you know what I'm seeing? At the top of it, it looks like, for those of you that have seen The Hunger Games, I don't know if it's in other movies, but I believe that it's the Hunger Games when the arrow gets, I believe that the arrow gets shot into the sky, and then you see that it's these panels that start falling down, and so it had been like this simulation kind of that they were in. I'm seeing it be something like that with the devil, of like, while you're in this little arena that you're in, this is the thing that you have to work with, and this is like the big force that you have to work with. And temperance feels like all of the ways that you figure out how to work with this energy and how to channel your Mars energy properly too, to be able to take action in a way that ends up benefiting you and progressing you forward, rather than a way where everything in your whole life collapses because you don't know how to handle this and you're not getting better at it. So it can be a time where there can be stuff that you're working with mentally. To have Jupiter here and to have the Sun, it's a time when you can feel like a boost in your well-being, a boost in your optimism. And also to having the energy of Capricorn here, you can be working with those themes within your life. Like, it can be impacting you wherever you have Capricorn in your chart. And then the energy of Sagittarius here is being able to both maneuver within your everyday while also maintaining your vision of the bigger picture of what this is, and that being helpful. Like, if things want to go in that direction, you're like, okay, I guess we're going in that direction then. It's kind of just like being one with and facing whatever it is that's coming up at any given point in time. Wow, how about that? We have Ten of Swords, we have the Tower, but then we have the Four of Wands. Ten of Swords is feeling like all of the difficult stuff that you have to work through on a mental level. Like, this thought is coming up, now I have to deal with it. Now the next thought is coming up and I have to deal with it. It's like working all around within your psyche and your receptivity. As you are the radio, you are the receiver. And so this stuff is coming through. It's being amplified. You have to work through what you're receiving. The Tower can be this shaking around that's happening, this rumbling that's happening, but then to end with the Four of Wands shows you sort of coming out of all of it and things being stable. And it doesn't feel like that initially, because we start with Temperance and we end with Four of Wands, so all of this stuff happens in between. Temperance is be down to play the game, be down to play this level, know that everything popping up is what needs to be popping up right now. But you're going to end with the Four of Wands, and Four of Wands is that everything is stable now, everything is calm now, everything is still now, and also feels very celebratory with the Four of Wands. That I went through all of that stuff and it was so chaotic, and then this turn happened, and then that, and then we had the cliffhanger over there, and then we had the spin-off in that direction, and all of these things that happen, only to end then in the Four of Wands, which is like everything being just fine. Everything being just fine. Everything being more than just fine, because it shows like all of this stuff that you do to get to a point where things actually, there is actual peace there, there is actual harmony there. I wonder too, having Five of Pentacles, this can be stuff about your health that there's a concern about. It can be stuff about your resources that there's a concern about, stuff about your body that there's a concern about, stuff about your living situation that there's a concern about. Resources, finances can be a part of that. It can be just also too feeling maybe like a lack of support that you're working with that you can perceive sometimes, or a lack of help sometimes with Five of Pentacles can be but more so working with that part of yourself that feels like you're on your own doing things and that things aren't going to work out when they actually will. Ending with Four of Wands. Temperance and Four of Wands is, as things are being worked out, there's a need for you to ride the ride. It feels like if you're in the middle of the roller coaster being like, why didn't this thing stop yet? And judging it based off of that, it seems a little bit too soon to be doing that. Because what I'm seeing is that there's going to be some stuff that ends up happening that is abnormal and beneficial to you. The way that I'm seeing Jupiter, the Wheel of Fortune, be here, stuff is going to pop up that if you stay hopeful through this process and keep doing what you need to be doing, you will see that some very lucky stuff ends up happening that you wouldn't normally expect to happen, but it just does. And that things really are going to work out. I feel like this is such a Sagittarian reading here with this. So if things that are closing out and stuff that you're working through, because I'm actually seeing this Ten of Swords more than anything be like you're working with all of the thoughts that are coming up, and Ten of Swords feels like plenty of that's happening. Like this thought comes up and then I have to work with it, and then this thought comes up and then I have to work with it, and the growing that's happening as this is going on, the perspective that's being gained, the more expanded understanding, and then the, okay, like now things are calming down, now I'm moving forward, now this can be, that part of the cycle can be finishing now because I worked with all of that and I've transformed through it, and now that scene is over now and we can continue moving with the journey. And all of these thoughts that are coming up are meant to be transformative. At first they come up and you can be like, oh no, so worried about things. And then you realize that it's showing you key stuff. Where your anxiety is, it's telling you something. It can be telling you where you have belief systems where you have beliefs in place that are actually holding you back. Things that are not in alignment with how you want to be thinking. Wheel of Fortune is going to be how those things change and can be on a very subconscious level even at times, but bringing it into your awareness, coming to a place of understanding. So Ten of Swords is feeling like all of those thoughts that come up that at first you can feel overwhelmed by it happening. At first you can feel really anxious about it happening. At first you can feel like I'm in a bad mood now because how even is this gonna work, and I just want things to be okay. You end up pulling it apart, taking them apart, going through all of them, dissecting all of them, transmuting each of them with truth, with wisdom, and especially with divine wisdom that you have, cosmic wisdom. And then looking at everything and feeling like, now I'm really understanding this. Like all your thoughts sort of laid out in front of you, you understanding it like, oh, and you really having that moment then, and then you move, and then you keep moving with things. Like you did that, and now we get to keep moving. And having the Devil here, this can be the stuff that is most sticky for you that you have to work with here. So these things are not easy to move through. This is like the most powerful energy that you're working with, that you end up using it to empower your beliefs. And liberate you. I do even feel like something's switching on then. What I also get the sense of is I'm seeing where I hadn't been allowing for the magic. I'm seeing where I hadn't been making room for faith. I'm seeing where I hadn't been bringing the whole picture in here because the fear made everything so foggy and I couldn't really see. I feel like there's an understanding of, look at me and how I was seeing things before and how it would have never worked in that mindset, and then you work through it and there's this understanding now, and then that change occurs. Starting off with Temperance shows this is a process, and then ending with Four of Wands shows that it will end in a place of stability and harmony, and that things will be very, very good, and that it definitely is working out. And you will see that. It's not going to feel like that necessarily throughout the process. It can, but most times it doesn't because of how chaotic it is. But know that you will land with the Four of Wands, of you actually getting that peace that you're looking for, of things actually stabilizing in the way that you want them to, and hope for them to, of crossing the threshold and getting that success of you actually beat the level and now things are done. Like, you're not gonna go back in there and do that. You did what you needed to do here. Stuff with your mindset is really a key component here, regardless of what's playing out physically. Your mindset with Jupiter here and your beliefs, it feels like those are actually the things. It's kind of like you get faced with a lot of stuff that's physically happening, but what it's really doing is showing you your thoughts to you. So that's what you're working with, and you work with this stuff in front of you by way of that, actually. So you can think it's all about just what's in front of you, but it's actually about the thoughts that this is exposing to you, the beliefs that this is exposing to you. And then how you do things based off of that, how you even react based off of that. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.